Now, one of the things that you are going to notice about this set that's really changed is my base plate. What I've done is I've actually taken that baby plate, and again, I want to have a small set. I want it to be compact because I want to be able to get my lights in closer. When I do that, I'm able to achieve a more dramatic look by having those lights in closer. And with my lights being in closer, if I've got motion involved, again, I can get my flash duration down nice and low, so it's really fast, power's really low. I'm able to just kind of cycle through very quickly when we've got motion involved. So we've taken the black Plex and just glued it to the top of the baby plate, made sure it's nice and secure. Again, it's going to be a little dicey walking around, and now that I've changed that, I've got to make sure of where I am as I'm moving in the set. I don't want to knock this bottle off with all those refreshment cues. That being said, it's happened. It's happened several times. And you'll get a better sense of where you are in your set with the more time you spend on your set. It's just that simple. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of our hero bottles, and I'm actually going to put it out on the set because I want to start to light it without the refreshment cues. I want to get things in pretty good shape so that when I do put those refreshment cues on, I can bring it out to set and I can really get rolling with it. You know what? I want some stickum.
What?
Stickum, the wax.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Is it over there? Thank you. So we have a piece of polished Plex. It is so slick, it's ridiculous. If I go over there and flick that bottle a little bit, it's going to slide right off the end. This is that candle wax. I'm just going to put it on the back, and it's going to keep the bottle from moving. It's also going to do something else for me. It's going to mark where I need to put my bottle when I pull it off through the refreshment cues and bring it back. I'm just going to put a little on the base of my finger, put it on the bottom edge. This will never show up in my actual image, and I'm going to set it down here. Now, the reason I'm using black Plex is because I want a reflection. The black Plex is awesome because if I've got pure white in the background, it's going to reflect pure white, which means if I've got to shoot a knockout on white, I can actually use a black Plex to get that really deep reflection, and we'll be able to strip it out very easily because the rest of the Plex is going to go white like the background. If you use white Plex, you just get a really faded reflection. It's not nearly as dynamic, it's not nearly as filled with contrast, and it's not as saturated in terms of color. Now sometimes that can be what you want, so white Plex is fine, but for the most part I really prefer using black Plex. All right. How's it looking on rotation?
I'd rather just do a click.
Say again?
Just click once. Just.
Hang on, I'm going to move in closer. Can we have our background model light on so I can see it?
Yes, Rob Grimm.
All right, so there are a couple of things I can tell you right off the bat about this bottle. One, we don't have true hero product because we weren't able to get hero labels from the client. So we are using this bottle, but these are straight off of the shelf bottles, which means the labels aren't in the perfect spot. We're going to have issues with the seams and where the mold dot is showing up on the bottle. The other thing is they might be a little bit crooked or a little bit off center. So we may have to shoot for the main label and then rotate it and shoot for the neck label so they match up. That's fine, we can do that. It's a pretty simple, easy trick to do. It's just a matter of adjusting it. I also know that right now the neck on this bottle is going to really croak. I don't have enough light in it. The grid spot is a little bit too low, but I'm going to start here. I want to see what this looks like and we're going to build up from there. So what do we have power-wise on? We're at 6.0 on that little guy, right?
On the back one?
Yeah, you know what I want to do? Let's turn off the bar light for now. Let's turn off the IMPA spot for now. I just want to go with the backlight and maybe my top light to see what it's giving me. Sound cool?
Yeah. So you have the back one at 6 and the top one at 5.9, I think.
Okay.
6.5.
First thing I'm going to do is I'm rotating my polarizer and I'm trying to get the edges of the bottle nice and dark. I'm trying to get the effect of using the black cards on here, but doing it with the polarizer. Now that I have the bottle actually coated and it's got a little bit of that kind of diffuse clear coat on it, it's a little easier for me to see how that polarizer is making the adjustment. So I'm going to start there to see if I can't get it down. If I need to, I will bring in the black cards, but this is going to be my starting point. So right off the bat, the glow isn't looking too bad. Again, it's not in the right spot. It's not exactly where I want it, and it's too low. The neck is really kind of dying. We also have a huge spot where this guy is coming in. So I'm going to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to move that light a little bit more on top. I want to give the shoulders a little bit more life. So I'm going to come over like that. And I'm going to pull this light back and move it just a bit. All right, go ahead and pop that. Yeah, much better, right? Maybe a little too, it needs a little bit more power, huh? So if you can see the difference between those two images. Now that I've moved that, the glow is coming more on the right side, which is what I wanted. I'm gonna work opposite highlights. This is like classical portraiture, but in bottles. Weird statement? No, not at all. If you think about light, light is light, right? We've all heard that expression. What people do in portraiture can often apply to product work and vice versa. So I'm using this like classic portraiture, meaning I've got a highlight, shadow, and in the opposite, I've got shadow, highlight. It's building form, it's building shape. If you look back at a lot of the classic portrait artists, that's the way they did their light. They had highlight, shadow on the person's face, and in the background, they had shadow, highlight, the exact opposite. So I'm doing that here. I'm going to be bringing my highlights on the left side to wrap around the label, but on the interior of the bottle, I'm bringing the glow on the right side and gradating around to the left. That's going to give the bottle a lot more form, it's going to give it more volume, and it's going to feel more heroic. Did you put more power in?
Yeah, I have stopped.
Good.
It's too much?
No, no, no. I don't think it's too much. I think this is really going to be nice. Now I got to work on that. Let me see. You know what? I can actually see it a little bit. Even with all the video light, I can see it. So would you mind spinning that for me?
The back one? No.
No, the pan light, the pan head up above.
No, Rob, I don't mind. I can do it.
All right, go ahead. Keep going. Stop. Might have to go a little bit more. So what I'm doing, it is just really bright in here, at least for me. I'm just having Tomas rotate that pan head with the polarizer on it so I can match it on the inside of the camera so that I get that highlight to go away. I don't know if I completely killed it because there's so much light, but we're going to notice a difference. All right, keep going that direction. It got smaller. Yeah, I can't see it at all. We're just going to have to do it by computer.
It's almost good.
It's almost there. I want to take the light back a little bit and then tip it in towards the, tip it towards the camera. No, go back and then rotate it. All right. Just to try to get a little bit more light on the shoulders. A little bit more. Okay, good. Come back a little. I brought that too far back. Right there. All right, so I'm just looking at really, really small movements in light in exposure. As you do this more and more, you're going to be able to see the difference in 1/10 of a stop. I'm kind of seeing that with my eye. Those little differences, like I've said before, little differences add up to make a huge difference in the end result. So let's now start with the IMPA spot. I want to get that going and see if we can't get that label nice and lit up. Now, this one's going to be really hard because that light is so dim compared to the video lights. It's going to be really hard to see. I can't even see where it's hitting. Will you wave your hand in front of it? Okay.
See it?
Yeah, I see it. However, I cannot see its highlight at all. Now go ahead, point it at it. Point it at it. All right, now feather it this way. There you go. And too much. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Right there. What's the power setting on that?
It's 1/4.
Okay. Let's see what it looks like. Did that cell fire?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I already know I need to bring it around forward a little bit more. So, a couple things that are happening. Just adding that initial light, I'm starting to get that wrap around. This is going to be a very, very difficult label to photograph, and one of the reasons we selected it is because there are so many reflective properties on it. There are gold foils all over it. All the lettering is done in gold foil, which is going to wreak havoc on us as a photographer. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks that I use to make sure that I get those to light well as the base of the label, the body of the label. This often happens. My set starts to get really compact. I very often have these image spots kind of right next to the camera, right around where my camera stand is. Just seems to always work out that way. All right. There we go. One of the nice things about having lights kind of tight like this, when you're using dual polarization, it gives you the opportunity to make those adjustments yourself. So I can just grab this light and I can look through the camera and I can rotate it until I see that highlight disappear. Or mostly disappear. Again, it's really hard with all this ambient light. One thing that I have found with spotlights in particular, when you're using dual polarization, you can knock it down probably 98%, but you wind up with a little purple dot, a little purple highlight. Very easy to retouch. Those sometimes go away, sometimes they don't, depending on the shape of the glass. How's that looking?
Yeah, it's almost good.
It's still there a little bit. I can't see it completely, so let me try just rotating.
It got bigger.
Say again?
It got bigger.
All right, go the opposite way.
Same thing. Bigger.
Jeez, all right.
Yeah.
All right, that's probably as little as I'm gonna get, and that's fine. Now, let's introduce the bar light. So, this bar light is really kind of interesting. I like it. It gives me the ability to do a lot of stuff. Now, it has a huge dome, 180-degree dome, which is going to give me a really, really wide highlight. If I pop that right now, one, it's going to blast, but two, there's going to be this really wide highlight that just pretty much looks terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up a little bit, and I'm going to feather that dramatically. So as I'm turning this away, I'm narrowing how much of the bar light dome I'm allowing the glass to see, which is going to change the size of my highlight. Is it giving me a double?
No, this is from the Visitech.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
All right. Wow, it's showing up really strongly. All right, let's go to the new one where the highlight is. Yeah, that is strong, and it needs to be further around the side, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to bring it further around the side, because right now it's interfering completely with the logo. I don't want that. I want it to complement the logo, not compete. Yeah, taking out a couple stops.
I did. It was at 6.
Good. I'm gonna beat you to it, Tommy. All right, I think it's a little too thin now. What do you think?
Yeah, too thin.
Try that.
Same thing.
Too thin?
I think it's still too thin.
All right, let's bring it in. Better. Now, the question
It's
is...
just starting to kiss the K and the label.
Is it too sharp? Shall we diffuse it a little? No, that's really not too bad.
It's fine.
I am losing that edge though, so we're gonna need to bring in a black card. Don't you think?
Yeah.
All right, so we have a good amount of wrap around light coming in here, and I want to be able to kill that. I want that edge to be nice and sharp. So we are going to introduce a black card, but I'm not going to do that now because I want to actually go ahead and dress this bottle.